Picture the scariest night of your life. Now multiply it by 1,000. No walls, no phone, no emergency number to call, just darkness, cold wind, and somewhere out there in the black, a sound. Howling. Not one wolf, a pack of them. And you're sitting next to a tiny fire with maybe 20 other people, hoping, praying, that the light is enough to keep them away. That was Tuesday for our ancestors. Every single week, for thousands of years. And yet, those same terrifying creatures that haunted the darkness around human camps are today sleeping on your couch, wearing Christmas sweaters, and getting their own Instagram accounts. How does a monster become a best friend? The answer is one of the most surprising stories in all of human history. And the most shocking part? Nobody planned it. Not a single human being sat down and said, "You know what would be great? A tamed wolf that fetches sticks." It just happened. Let's go back. Way back. Around 30,000 years ago, during the Ice Age. Human life at this point is almost impossible to imagine. Small groups of maybe 20 or 30 people, wandering constantly across frozen landscapes. No farms, no cities, no storage. You eat what you kill, and when the hunt fails, and it fails a lot, people go hungry. Children die. Winters are brutal. Every meal is earned by risking your life. And at the edge of every single human camp, just beyond the reach of the firelight, something was watching. Wolves. Now, here's something important to understand about wolves. They're not stupid. In fact, they're incredibly smart. And smart animals do one thing above everything else. They find the easiest possible way to survive. For a wolf in the Ice Age, the easiest calories on the entire landscape were the ones humans left behind. Think about it. Hunter-gatherers were messy. They cracked open bones, left behind scraps of meat, discarded animal skins. To a wolf, a human camp wasn't a threat. It was a buffet. But approaching that buffet, that required something most wolves didn't have: nerve. Here's where the story gets fascinating. Not every wolf in a pack was the same. Some were bold, some were aggressive, some were skittish. And a very small number, maybe only a few out of hundreds, were something else entirely. Calm, curious, just a little less afraid of humans than the others. When these calmer wolves crept toward human camps and grabbed scraps instead of running, something extraordinary began to happen. Not because any human decided it, not because of any plan, but purely because of math. The calmer wolf got fed. The aggressive wolf got a spear through the ribs. The terrified wolf starved. Generation after generation, this quiet filter ran. The wolves that could tolerate being near humans survived and had pups. The ones that couldn't, didn't. No training, no breeding program, no human decision-making at all. Evolution was running its own experiment, and humans were completely unaware they were part of it. And then something happened that nobody expected. As these wolves became calmer, they started looking different. This sounds strange, but scientists actually proved it. In 1959, a Russian geneticist named Dmitry Belyaev decided to test something. He took wild foxes in Siberia, aggressive, terrified of humans, basically impossible to touch, and he ran one simple rule. Every generation, he only bred the calmest foxes. That's it. No training, no tricks, just personality selection. Within 40 years, the foxes were running toward humans, wagging their tails, licking hands, whining for attention. But here's the part that nobody predicted. Their bodies changed. Floppy ears appeared, shorter snouts, patches of white in the fur, curled tails. Just by selecting for calm behavior, Belyaev had accidentally selected for an entirely different appearance. Scientists now believe this happens because the genes controlling aggression and stress are connected to the same biological pathways that control physical development. Calm the animal down, and the body reshapes itself. Which means, 30,000 years ago, the wolves hanging around human camps were quietly, slowly, beginning to look less like wolves and more like something new. Humans would have noticed. Imagine seeing a wolf that was slightly smaller, slightly softer looking, one that didn't bolt when you walked nearby, one that sat at the edge of the firelight and just watched you, curiously, without aggression. At some point, a human probably tossed it a bone, just to see what happened, and the wolf caught it. From there, the relationship built on pure usefulness. Wolves have hearing that makes human ears look broken. They can smell a predator through a kilometer of forest. They can track prey across terrain that would leave a human completely lost. A wolf near your camp was a free, living, breathing alarm system. When bears approached, the wolf knew first. When strangers crept close in the night, the wolf heard them first. When deer were grazing 2 hills over, the wolf could lead you there. Both sides were getting something. The wolves got reliable food without the risk of a hunt. The humans got a security system and a hunting partner that was better than anything they could build. Once that mutual benefit clicked, the relationship didn't slow down. It accelerated. This is why the dog holds a record no other animal even comes close to. Dogs were domesticated before sheep, before goats, before cattle, before the horse, before farming itself. Long before humans figured out they could plant seeds in the ground and wait, they had already formed one of the deepest cross-species partnerships in the history of life on Earth. And then farming happened, and dogs adapted again. When humans began eating more grains and bread instead of primarily meat, something inside dogs quietly shifted. Dogs gradually evolved the ability to digest starch far more efficiently than wolves can. They literally rewired their digestion to match ours. They were changing their biology to stay close to us. But maybe the most extraordinary change wasn't physical at all. At some point in this long, slow journey, dogs and humans stopped being just useful to each other. They became something else. When you look into a dog's eyes, your brain releases oxytocin, the same hormone involved in the bond between a parent and a newborn child. When the dog looks back at you, their brain releases oxytocin too. Wolves don't do this with humans, only dogs, because evolution shaped them, specifically, deliberately, to connect with us emotionally. Those big, soft, expressive eyes that make you want to take care of a dog? Those probably spread through dog populations specifically because humans were more likely to feed and protect dogs that looked emotionally expressive. Cuteness was a survival strategy. We know this relationship became something real, something beyond survival, because of a grave. In Germany, archaeologists uncovered a burial site around 14,000 years old. 2 humans were found inside, a man and a woman, and beside them, carefully placed, was a dog. A dog that, based on its bones, had survived a serious illness as a young puppy, an illness that would have killed it in the wild, which means the humans had nursed it, fed it, kept it alive through weeks of vulnerability. In the Ice Age, when food was precious, when every calorie was earned by risking your life, they chose to spend those resources on a sick dog. That is not practicality, that is not strategy, that is love. Somewhere tonight, your dog is going to walk in circles before lying down, echoing a habit from ancient wolves flattening grass to sleep. It might twitch in its sleep, running after something in a dream that happened 10,000 years ago, and then it's going to curl up close to you, because that's where evolution taught it to be. The monster outside the firelight is now the warmth beside your feet, not because we tamed it, because it chose to walk toward us, one cautious step at a time, until fear became trust, and trust became something that has outlasted every empire, every invention, and every idea humans have ever had. It started with scraps beside a fire. It became the greatest friendship in history.